second half of all of the colorful action. We have the band now out there performing, and drill team as well. But a 14-14 tie. We have a team that relies on the big plays, including that 70-yard run from scrimmage the first time they got the ball. That put Hillcrest. Here's Larry Ryan.
All right, thank you very much, Bill Drilling. It looks like we're going to have John Mead, rather, kick it off. Joliet Catholic got 112 yards net rushing on 29 attempts, 112 net, and Hillcrest 151. One of the few times I would expect that a Joliet Catholic team would be outgained on the ground. And of course, the interception hurt the fumble. The turnovers were critical to both teams in this football game.
John Mead's about ready to set his foot onto the ball as the blue and white of the Hillcrest Hawks get ready to receive the black and white of the Hilltoppers of Joliet. Start the second half now. Larry?
Here's the kick by Mead, and he hits this one well. It'll be taken by Dolan Bozeman at his own 5-yard line. He's across the 10. Here he is at the 15, at the 20. He gets circled, and finally he spun away and was put down by number 24 for the Hilltoppers, and that was Mike Tyrrell. So the Hilltoppers are on defense, and here's a critical series, I think, for the Joliet Catholic defense as Hillcrest takes over with Bill Jensen at the controls. He's gone all the way thus far. And now they go with a slot left. Kevin Williams and Dan Scuda split to the left side. There are two setbacks. And here's Jensen going to roll, and he is put down by big Mike Brown, 6'4", 215 pounds. He put him down as he tried to skirt around the other end on the far right-hand side, trying to go to the far side of the field. I was looking for a pitch out, but didn't see it.
Brown was in there quickly. He foiled the play. They started on the 22. That's where they are now. Second and 10. From the Hillcrest 22, and the Hawks have the ball as we are just a few seconds into the second half. A 14 each tie.
Ted Shakos is the tight left end, and this time they hand it off, and straight goes Krutzler into the middle of the pile. He gets 2 or 3 yards. The Hilltopper fans applaud as it seems like they've been trying to put the clamps on this ground game. And that time it was John Krutzler who owns one of the Hawks' touchdowns on an interception return. He goes both ways. Lou Fumagalli we see on the right side. At linebacker, Mark Garvalia on the left side, and the down men are Bob Healy, Doug McKay, Jim Boucher, and Mike Brown. Here's a critical third down play for the Hawks. Third down, and they have a split left end, Scuda. This time they hand it off, and into the center goes Douglas, and boy, does Mike Brown and John Piazza put him down. Now it was John Piazza and Mark Garvalia, the middle linebacker and left linebacker, and they got to Douglas. He'll get forward progress of about a half yard.
Oh, he'll go 4, Larry.
He got to the 26-yard line. He got from the 24 to the 26, so he got 2 yards on the play, and Sean Clarkson drops back along with Mark Schmidt and Steve Carberry, and kicking will be Jensen. Here's the punt. He gets a good snap back. Here's his kick. It's a good one. It carries very high. Clarkson will let it bounce, and be careful. It was down at the 45-yard line. The reason I said be careful is it looks like he was going to catch the ball, then backed off at the last second, and the ball took a high bounce and could have dropped on one of his blockers.
So the Hill will take over on their own 45. That was an excellent halftime interview Don Lattis had with Mr. Zimmer of Lockport, and Zimmer says he'll go with the Hilltoppers in this game, although we've got a deadlock now. He says they've got a strong second half in front of them, and here we go on their first offensive series for the second half, the Hilltoppers.
They hand it off to Eric Beltsilver. Up the center goes Eric. He gets pushed down as he got from the 45 to the 47. It was a 29-yard kick, no return by the punter, Bill Jensen, who also is the quarterback for the Hawks. Pickup of 2 on the play, and it'll be second down and 8 yards to go for the Hillmen. They have to get to the Hillcrest inside their 45, almost to the 44 for a first down. They're on their own 47. We'll call it second and 8. Clock running with 9 minutes and 20 seconds to go here in the third quarter. We're tied up at 14, the same way we were last year in the quarterfinals. This time the power is to the right side, and here's Pesavento trying to cut inside, trying to get to the outside, and he may not have any yards at all. He may have got a half yard on the play as the left side of the Hillcrest line got after Pesavento, and for a second I thought the way he went down on his free arm, he might have hurt his elbow, but he seems to be all right getting up.
Has Dan been carrying the ball that freely in the past during this season? He risked a fumble there. He didn't. He held on to the ball, but that's a pretty risky thing to carry that ball at arm's length while circling the end.
Not usually that much. They haven't used the play that much, and they actually go with a power situation to the right side. Here's Pesavento back to pass. He gets a big rush, throws over the center, caught by Borg. He's at the 30, he's at the 25, at the 20. It's a foot race. He's at the 10, the 5, and he's down at the 5-yard line. Making the tackle that time was number 33, Bob Slaybaugh, the last man between Bruce Borg and the goal line. And Slaybaugh caught up with him. As I said, it was a foot race, Bill Drilling.
Well, they got nearly 50 yards out of it, and Bruce Borg, of course, made a beautiful grab of that pass. It was one of those bullets right over the center. He was on the place, or at the place he should be on the field. He went out and cut toward the west. Now the Hilltoppers have it with 1st and goal on the 5 with just a few minutes gone in the second half. They're going to have another golden scoring opportunity, Larry.
Thayer up to the 3-yard line. He's close. Touchdown. Rick Thayer, what power into the end zone. He just kept the legs pumping, and he just went right around the left side. He got good blocks from Kulig and probably Borg on the left side, or Paul Benigni. No, it was Borg, the left end on that play, as Benigni and Mackey are exchanging on the shuttle service, and it is a touchdown of 5 yards by Rick Thayer. And now that's his 2nd touchdown of the football game, so he has scored.
He scored on a 7-yard run the first time.
He scored 14 points in this game, and that gives him 120 on the season. Here's Thayer trying it again, and he's trying to get in. He does. He spun into the end zone that time, and those Hilltoppers are fired up on the field. Mark Kulig is just jumping up and down in delight as Beltsilver made the block for Thayer that time. So there's time out on the field, and with 8 minutes and let's call it 8 minutes and 8 seconds to go here in the third quarter, it's Joliet Catholic out in front over Hillcrest 22-14. We'll be back with more football in 30 seconds.
Here is an urgent bulletin for downtown Joliet. The rumors are true. Gus and Spiro are back at the Colonial Restaurant, Joliet and Jefferson. Yes, Gus and Spiro are back. And the Colonial Restaurant is better than ever. Old customers, new patrons, drop in today, tomorrow for sure, to greet Gus and Spiro and enjoy some of that great food. You'll notice the change, the improvement at the Colonial now that Gus and Spiro are back for lunch or dinner. The Colonial Restaurant, Joliet and Jefferson, downtown Joliet.
The kick by John Meade. It carries end over end, a little bit short, and it'll bounce in front of the Bozeman at the 14-yard line. He's trying to cut to the near side, and he gets swarmed under at the 23. And a flag goes down. We might have a piling on rap against Joliet Catholic here. Steve Carberry made the stop, but let's check the call.
Maybe Don Lattis saw it down on the field.
Don Lattis down there. Don, did you see what that indication was?
I didn't notice. I was talking to one of the boys from last year's team down here, Don Birsa, and we were just trying to compare the two ball clubs, Larry. Maybe a little bit later in the ball game if we get a chance. We'll get a couple of words in with this fine young fella who's at Joliet Junior College right now.
Meanwhile, back here on in the press box, it looks like we're going to have another kickoff, and probably the penalty is going to be assessed on the kickoff. Could that be right, Larry?
All right, what happens? We had offsetting penalties. We had offside on the kickoff, apparently. One of the Hilltoppers preceded John Meade as his toe touched the ball, and he preceded him across the 40-yard line on that kick coverage. And there was a clip thrown by one of the Hillcrest blockers for the man who took that kickoff, and so the offsetting penalties give us a re-kick.
So nothing has happened.
No penalty, that's
John
correct.
Meade will kick again.
He and Rick Thayer both approach the football, and we'll see back there for the Hawks, we see Bill McDonnell appears to be back there. Well, we see Dolan Bozeman back there. Now they switch, and Thayer comes and kicks it to this side, and it'll come to Bozeman again. He's at his own 18, up to the center of the field, and he gets put down as he crossed the 20 to the 22. Great work on the kick coverage that time by John Murin. Little Johnny Murin, a second-string defensive back at 5'6", 155, and only a junior, was able to get the ankle tackle.
And there were no flags on that, so it'll be Hillcrest ball. The Hawks will take over on about their own 22.5, and it's 22-14 with the homestanding Hilltoppers in front in the second half of action. Larry?
Again, a slot left with two setbacks, and here's Jensen going to the air. He has time. He throws one down here, and it's incomplete. No flag thrown, and nice coverage that time by Mark Schmidt. The pass was intended for the tight end. That was Ted Chakos, I believe, and it was incomplete. But nice coverage by Mark Schmidt, the left side cornerback, as he played it well without drawing a foul, without drawing a penalty flag that time.
Well, there was some contact there, but they were both after the ball, and in the opinion of the official, and that's the one that counts, well, there was no interference, and as a result, it falls harmlessly as an incompleted pass. Here we go, second 10.
Again, a slot left with two setbacks. Here's Jensen back to pass. He's running for his life. Fumagalli after him. He's going to keep the football, and he's going to try and get to the 25, 26-yard line, and he got spilled on the play. And Bob Healy was the one that finally got after him. Lou Fumagalli was in a hot pursuit from his right linebacking position as they weren't able to turn in Jensen, and he picks up a few yards on the play from the 23 to about the 27-yard line. Let's call it 4-yard pickup We'll call it 3rd down and 6 on the play. They're really trying to open it now as Skuta goes out split right, and now we have the wishbone offense behind Bill Jensen. This time he hands off to Douglas, and he gets about 3 on the play. A quick hitter on the right side, and John Jensen and Mike Brown got in there on the stop. Also Jimmy Boucher, and these Hilltopper fans applaud the defensive unit as they run the Hawks out of downs, and they're in a punting situation. I might point out we've seen some excellent punting by Bill Jensen in this ball game.
That's for sure, for sure. And, of course, we've got quite a bit of ball game left.
Clock showing 6.5 minutes, and here's Jensen in punt formation, gets a good snap, takes his time, and really booms a kick away. Mark Schmidt and Clarkson will let it drop, and it'll be down at that point. Again, they're letting that ball drop very dangerously, and it was down by one of the Hawks. That was Chris Schupert, who dropped it. Chris's brother, Bob, was on this team last year as a linebacker and a fullback, and an excellent ball player for this ball club, and I think he got a scholarship to New Mexico State.
Well, these Hawks hustle down there under those punts, and I don't think I'd want to catch it and run. I think probably with the brittleness of one's hands and 40-degree temperatures like we have out here at Joliet Memorial Stadium, maybe they're doing the right thing. At least if they don't touch it, it's only down. Here's
hand off to Thayer, and the big guy goes over the left side, hurdles ball players, and gets 45 to the 46-yard line now. A pickup of about 7 on the play for Rick Thayer. They're giving us an interesting look. They're throwing a wingback over on the left side, and they run Thayer almost as the only setback. And they're also, they got the end split out maybe a yard or so, the left end. So it almost a power shift to the left side with the right halfback way over to the right. And they're giving us that look, and it works off the left side. Quick hitter again. Here's Beltsover in the center. Beltsover breaks for a moment until he ran into Skuta, but he got into Hillcrest territory at the 48-yard line, make it the 47 before Don Skuta put him down. That's a first down for Joliet Catholic. Don Lattis is down on the field, and Don, it looks like the Hilltoppers are again trying to control this football game.
And they're doing a good job, too, Larry. The running of Beltsover and Thayer really starting to take hold here now as the Hilltoppers are on the march again.
All right, here are the Hilltoppers now with a 1st and 10. Here's Thayer trying to slide to the outside. He goes straight ahead, gets to about the 41-yard line. And this is what the Hilltoppers do. They continually hammer at you and finally just wear you down. John Krutzler got in there on the stop, and as Thayer finally got to the 40-yard line, let's call it the 40, as he's just shy of it in Hillcrest territory. 5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter of play. The last score we had was Roselle Lake Park 21, Joliet Central 14. That was at the halftime or late in the 2nd quarter. I think it was a halftime score. I formation with the running backs, and this time they hand it off to Beltsover. Straight up the middle goes Eric, and he gets to the 35-yard line. He's got a first down. And again, they start to rip off this power football game as Joliet Catholic's defense has risen to the occasion and has pretty much checked the Hawks, and the throwing of Pesavento has really worked on the first touchdown drive of this 3rd quarter. 22-14, Catholic leads by 8. It'll be a first down now as they mark it at the 36-yard line of Hillcrest, and we see that's 12 first downs for Joliet Catholic, 9 of them in the first half. The wingback Sharp is right behind the right tackle Drasnik. I formation. Hillcrest almost in a blitzing situation. Pesavento a long count. And a handoff to Thayer, picking his hole. The big guy spins and finally gets stacked up by 10 Hawks. Loses the football out of the crowd. But the whistle had already blown, Bill, several seconds before that fumble occurred.
And so we have a gain of 3 yards on that play. So it's 2nd and 7 for the Hilltoppers on the march. They're continuing downfield. They're right now the ball resting on the 33 of the Hawks. And it looks like that formerly impervious defense of the Hawks is giving some ground. And they're grinding it out, too, in the traditional Hilltopper fashion. Larry?
2nd and 7, almost a slant right. Here's Thayer down into the center. He stops, and he gets stacked up at the 20, maybe the 30-yard line. And now he breaks away from Chris Schupert, but Chris hangs on to his arm, and the whistle blows.
A quick whistle.
That's right. Roger Stillwell will tell you about that.
Yeah, they never did tackle Beltsover, but his forward progress obviously had been stopped for several seconds.
Here's a big 3rd down play, 3rd and 4, just inside the 30-yard line. We'll call it the 29. They have to get to the 25 for a first down. And now the I formation, and on a quick hitter, up the middle goes Thayer, and he'll be short of the first down.
There's
and
a
flag went down into the pile again. And a face mask violation, that seems to be the preliminary indication. Don Lattis is down on the field, and Don, I want to ask you quickly, did you see that particular violation at all? It was a face mask, apparently.
Yes, it was definitely, Larry, and 15 big ones coming up here now as Catholic High continues to move along. We've got Don Bersa from last year's team here for a quick word, Larry. How you like the ball club this year, Don?
I think they look very good. They're doing about the same thing we did last year. They're a very good team this year.
This is a well-coached team, too, isn't it, this Hillcrest Ball Club?
Yeah, but they're a little smaller than last year. That's about it.
Right. Okay, Larry.
All right, on the 14, Catholic High has the ball, 1st and 10. Here we go.
All right, the center, or the right guard for Catholic High, jumped quick as they tried to hand it off to the tailback, Eric Beltsilver, and it'll be a procedure call against the Hilltopper of 5 yards. By the way, that was a half the distance of the goal penalty from the 28 to the 14, from where Thayer was stacked up. So they lose 5 yards here on this particular penalty, back to about the 19-yard line.
Well, the state 4A champs have a 22-14 lead with less than 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. They've been grinding it out slowly. They've been using up time, and they've been using up the defense of the Hawks, the visitors here at Joliet Memorial Stadium. That defense has to be tiring.
And here's Pesavento on a keeper play. He's at the 15. He breaks a tackle, and he is finally run out of bounds at the 10-yard line. The man who ran him out that time was Clenard Ward, one of the tackles for the Hillcrest Hawks. He ran him out on the near side. That play, it looks like a quarterback draw. He drops back, and as you mentioned, he was carrying that ball way out in his right hand very dangerously.
I agree with that. Of course, Gordy will probably make corrections in the semifinal, assuming that the Hill makes it past this particular foe. Yeah, they've got a couple of quarters to go. This is the
preliminaries, and we got the quarterfinals on Saturday.
Aha.
All right, here's a quick count. Hand off to Thayer, and the big guy's inside the 10 and gets stacked up and pushed back to the 11-yard line. Clock running with 2:20 to go. It was a first down, by the way, for Joliet Catholic at the 11-yard line of Hillcrest. And now John McFarland, Rick Thayer, Eric Beltsilver, and Mark Kulig finally get out of that pile. It's just straight power blocking, but this is an interesting formation we've been seeing from the Hilltoppers, where they stack a lot of backs up almost near the right end and the right tackle, and then just try and run Thayer who is the lone setback, and just try and follow him in.
Sure would be interesting to find out how the Steelmen are doing up at Roselle, because there's a possibility that in that quarterfinal confrontation right here, assuming the Hill wins, that it would be the Steelmen against the Hill on Saturday at 1:30.
Hillcrest looking to stun in there, and again Pesavento with a long count, and we have a whistle. Now it looks like the right tackle may have drawn them offside. They're pointing to Bill Drasnick, and 5 yards against Bill Drasnick, and the Hilltoppers will be stepped off. Apparently, Bill probably moved as he was trying to look at those stunning linemen of Hillcrest. They're doing a lot of moving in and out, but they're not breaking the plane to the line of scrimmage.
Well, of course, from our vantage point, we have to rely on the officials' gestures from the field, and some of that infighting that goes on in the trenches, that's pretty difficult to see from where we're particularly sitting here in the press box. Of course, Don Lattis is down on the field, and from time to time, we'll be going down to him to get more of that close-up.
Third down and 11, Bill, at the 15-yard line, and again they send Sharp in motion, and we might have a flag again. Here's Pesavento throwing into the end zone, and it'll be incomplete, and somebody may have hit the goal post. It was intended for Mackey on a crossing pattern. I thought we might see a flag again because it looked like the right side of the Hilltopper line fired out early, but we did not see a flag. And so that sets up a 4th down situation, 4th and 11. The clock stops with 1 minute and 10 seconds to go. And the Hilltoppers really have the benefit of this northwest wind that has been pretty brisk here this afternoon. Well, we'll see what Dan Pesavento wants to do. They're going to go for it. We haven't seen the Hillmen try an extra point, at least I haven't, all season long, or a field goal of any sorts.
Well, if they tried one, it would be from at least the 25. That would be a total of 35 yards distance, and that's a pretty long boot for a high school foot.
Tim Mackey splits out to the right side. Bill Sharp to the left, dropping straight back. Pesavento, he has time. He's going to roll to the right side. Now he's going to try and keep it, and he's going to be run down as he ate the football that time, and maybe wisely so, rather than put it up in the end zone. About the only thing he could have done was try and sky it up into the end zone and hope his man could pick it up or else throw it away.
So it'll be Hillcrest's ball. They'll take over deep in their own territory, and we have only 1 minute left of the third quarter. 22-14. Hilltoppers of Joliet Catholic in the lead. Larry?
The ball goes over on downs to the Hawks, and Bill Jensen leads them out of the huddle. Chris Schubert had made that last tackle. It's at the 11-yard line. Again, out of the wishbone they go, and they send the fullback in motion to the right side, and they hand it off, and here's Douglas, I believe, getting to about the 12 or 13-yard line. You could just see the flow of the Hilltoppers move toward their own left and toward the Hillcrest right, trying to plug up the hole on that play.
Well, I think probably the lines are playing each other on even terms. I can't help believing the Hawks have the lighter, faster line.
All right, it'll be a good point, Bill. It'll be second down and 8 yards to go. We're in the final 17 seconds of this quarter. Again, out of the wishbone they go. And the fullback in motion, Bozeman to the far side. And here's Jensen handing off to Kretzler. He breaks one tackle and finally gets stacked up for no gain. Lou Fumagalli got in there. Bob Healy got in there. They all helped out on that tackle. Also getting a piece of the action was Doug McKay, the right side down men too. He's the right tackle. And Bob Healy, the right defensive end. That is the end of the third quarter of play. With the score, Joliet Catholic 22 and Hillcrest 14. We'll be back with the final period of this preliminary playoff game in 60 seconds.
This is WJOL in Joliet.
Snow belongs outside, not on your TV screen. Bad TV reception could mean you need a visit from Imperial Antenna. Give them a call at 729-0161. Imperial Antenna's been in the business since 1957, so you know they're reliable. If you need a new antenna, they'll tell you just what you need, and no job is too big or too small for Imperial Antenna service. Oh, you FM listeners, you really need a good antenna for best stereo reception. Imperial Antenna, 1325 West Jefferson, Joliet at I-55 and Joliet Road, Lamont.
Is this where I buy a value-rated used car?
Yes, sir. This is Value Rated Headquarters.
Now, let me get this straight. Value Rated is a program that offers me a quality used car that's undergone a 24-step appearance and mechanical inspection.
That's right.
Thoroughly reconditioned if necessary, lists all the extra equipment.
Right.
At a reasonable price.
Right again.
Then you must be an Oldsmobile dealer.
That's right. I thought you'd never ask.
You'll find value-rated used cars at Jim Graham Olds Renault, 1520 West Jefferson, Joliet.
All right, we're back here now, and here's Jensen rolling to the far side. He pitches it back to Douglas. He's trying to get some running room, and he'll be across the 20 to the 23, and he'll be shy of first down yardage. That time they did use the pitch-out play, but Douglas was trailing the play so much he really didn't have a chance to get a good lateral. It was a backwards lateral rather than a parallel to the line of scrimmage, and Douglas never had a chance to get going.
Well, they break from the huddle again, and it didn't take long, and now it's going to be a fourth down situation. Here comes one of those fine spiral punts again, Larry.
Here's Jensen. He has plenty of time. He gets it off, kicks it toward the near side. It'll be way short, and Clarkson will be blasted. It hits into him, and who's got it? Flag went down. 2 flags down, and Hillcrest recovered it. And there's another flag down. Interference with the receiver, I think, is the indication. Now the question is, did Clarkson signal fair catch or what? I don't think he did, but the question is, you cannot interfere with the receiver's right to catch the ball, and I think he was interfered with, to say the least, Bill.
Well, it's difficult to recount the circumstances that led to whatever kind of call we're going to get, but the flags are virtually covering the field, so a lot of the officials closer than we have spotted more than one infraction, I would guess. It looks like they're going to have to punt the ball over again.
And it'll be half the distance to the goal from the 23 to about the 12-yard line. They'll re-kick it because Hillcrest had possession of that after he coughed up the football. So it'll be from the 23 down to about the 12-yard line. Let's call that a 12-yard penalty, Mike, to be close to the half-yard situation.
Well, actually, Hillcrest may be better off. That was one of their poorer punts. It only traveled maybe 25 yards in the air, and the kicker for Hillcrest, for the Hawks, has been accustomed during this game to get a real nice spiral, and he's had some 45-yard boots.
Now it looks like he'll be very close to the goal line when he gets this kick away. He'll be standing at the goal line. Now he'll get the kick away from about the 3. Clarkson and Schmidt standing at midfield. Again, a good snapback. Here's the kick end over end, and it'll be taken by Schmidt at his own 45. He juggles it, trying to get to the outside. He's at the 40, cuts upfield at the 35, and is out of bounds in that area. He made a nice cut upfield. He juggled it, but I want to say one thing about Mark Schmidt. He made sure he made the catch at the 46, then he started to move, and then he juggled. He made sure he had the handle on the ball.
Well, he was bobbling the ball, but you see that a lot even in the pro ranks. And now the Hilltoppers have got excellent field position. They're just outside the 30 of the Hawks, and they have almost a full quarter in which to do their business in their slow, methodical way. Larry?
All right, Dad, we haven't forgot about you down there in the field. We're going to get to you in a moment, maybe after this play. 11 minutes and 2 seconds to go in this football game. Joliet Catholic on the 33 of Hillcrest as they take over. In motion comes Sharp to the near side. Handoff to Sharp, and he gets to about the 30 before he's stacked up. Don, as you had a chance to see that play down there, Sean Clarkson had no chance to catch that first punt by Bill Jensen.
Not at all, and it was an obvious call there. It looked like the kid from the defender coming down took his eye off the ball there. He was intent on hitting that man, and when he backed away from the ball, there was nothing he could do. He just went right into him, and of course, the penalty was called.
All right, Joliet Catholic leading 22-14 here in the first minute of the fourth quarter. Actually, the first minute and a half. We have about 10 and a half minutes to go in the game. Second down and 7. Again, over on the left side goes Beltsuber in motion, comes sharp to the near side. Hand off to Thayer. Up the middle goes Rick. He's broken one. He's at the 20. Hangs onto the football, and finally, 3 Hawks bring him down at the 15-yard line or 16-yard line. This is the Catholic High offense that we've seen most of the time, out of the power eye, swinging into a full house backfield, and either the left halfback in motion or the right halfback in motion. Sometimes they call that their short motion when he goes behind the fullback. They call it long motion when he goes in front of the fullback.
Well, the beefy Thayer, it took at least 3 of those lighter safety men for the Hawks to bring him down after he broke through the line of scrimmage. And here's more play-by-play, Larry.
Again, Thayer looking for some yardage. He almost just sneaks through that yardage there and gets about 3 on the play. And Bob Johnson made the stop at that point for the Hawks as he got inside the 15 to about the 13-yard line. Second down and 6, they say. Second and 6, and 10 minutes and 45 seconds, 9:45 left in the game now. 22-14, Joliet Catholic leading Hillcrest here in the fourth quarter.
You think they'll stay on the ground, Larry, don't you?
Naturally. Here's Beltsuber straight up the middle. He fights off a tackle, and did he fumble it? No, he held on to the ball. He held on to the football, and he got down inside the 10 to about the 7-yard line, and I think he'll be about a yard shy of the first down. We're watching the official for an indication. He indicates 3rd and 1. Jim Nani comes out of the lineup. Usually Mike Nelson alternates, but I think he is hurt and injured and will not play during the playoff series. I'm not sure. I'll have to verify that, though.
They could grab off a quick touchdown with just a short pass now. I wonder if they'll do it.
This time they hand it off to Thayer, and the big guy has the first down. He gets stood up at the 5 and gets pushed back to the 7. Just going for the first down to see if they get in a goal line situation. Scoreboard has already called it first down. And it is a first down indication by the official. 1st and 10, Joliet Catholic. They actually are just outside the 10-yard line. So perhaps if they got to about the 1-inch line. No, they're at the 5. I'm sorry. 1st and goal at the 5-yard line. Had to reset my perspective here.
Well, they should set the scoreboard too. There they go. Now it's 1st and 5 to go for a touchdown.
They hand it off to Beltsuber. He's close. He spins, and he's trying to get into the end zone.
He did.
Touchdown. He spun away before there was any whistle, and Beltsuber spun away and got in the end zone. It looked like he was stacked up at about the 2, and Eric Beltsuber is having a terrific day on the ground. This is as well as I've seen him run in a long time, and he's a good one. Eric Beltsuber makes it into the end zone, and the Hilltoppers lead 28-14. And that Hawks crowd is very, very silent, and that's understandable on the far side. And that comes with 8 minutes and 33 seconds, 8:32 to go here in the fourth quarter in the game. Catholic High will go for 2. The Hilltoppers lead at 28-14. Full house backfield. Pesavento this time hands off to Sharp, and he gets pushed back. So the conversion is no good, and with 8 minutes and 33 seconds to go here in the football game, rather. It's Joliet Catholic 28 and Hillcrest 14. We'll be back with a Hilltopper kickoff and more football from Memorial Stadium in 30 seconds.
Elliott Hennessy can put you in a new home before Christmas. What a way to celebrate the holidays. Just call one of the pros, Joe Cusimano, Jim Rubens, Gil Stonage, Ernie Ernesto Bucarelli, or Sam Freeman. They can give you a no-obligation evaluation of your present home's worth. Call them at 729-1700. Elliott Hennessy Real Estate and Insurance, 3131 West Jefferson in the Twin Oaks Plaza.
Back here now, and after 3 quarters, Lake Park Roselle maintains that 21-14 lead over Joliet Central. Here, 28-14, Joliet Catholic. John Meade and Rick Thayer both approached the ball. The last time Thayer kicked it off, watch the 2 deep men. They finally confer on who will go where, and it'll be John Meade kicking it off. End over end, it'll come to Bozeman, and instead one of the up front men, and he is going to be put down at the area, in the area of the 26 or 27-yard line. He took the ball at about his own 18 or 19, and finally was put down. I was watching the deep backs there, and before, when they split, they have always been trying to kick to Bozeman and kick away from Alan Douglas. And the time before they split, They flip-flopped that time, and Thayer on the previous kickoff before it kicked it to Bozeman again.
Here come the Hawks on their own 28, 1st and 10.
Slot right with 2 setbacks. Jensen will pitch it back to Douglas. Here he comes. He's at the 25. He makes a cut, and he gets put down at the 35-yard line. Maybe at about the 36. Straight power sweep on a pitch out by Douglas. Making the tackle was Doug McKay on the far side of the field. Douglas, you always have to be concerned about. He scored 3 touchdowns in the 27-24 win over Tinley Park by Hillcrest last Saturday.
I'd like to give credit to our engineer before we run out of time here.
The question is, what is his name? What's his name?
Willie Joe, Christopher Drilling.
All right, Don Scuda comes near side, ends in tight, and we'll see if they run the fullback in motion. They do to the far side. And here's Jensen handing off and pitching it out to Kretzler, and he gets hauled down by John Jensen. Boy, that John Jensen from the invert side, from the near side, really put down Kretzler. Don Lattis is down on the field, and Don, this pursuit is amazing by the Joliet Catholic defense.
Well, I tell you, Larry, as you can see up there, and we can down here, the inspiration of the Catholic High Ball Club right now is something to see. They are sky high, and I'll tell you, I would say that last touchdown was just about the thing to put the frosting on the cake.
All right, we see some of the Hawks fans, it looks like, are looking over the other side of the stadium over there, and some fans are running over there in that area on the east side. In motion now goes the fullback, and they pitch it over to Douglas, trying to slide to the outside, and here's Mike Tyrrell tripping him up at the 20-yard line for a loss. Was it John Funk or Mike Tyrrell? No, it was Mike Tyrrell. And he got there and put him down as they tried to pitch it to Douglas, and I'll tell you, that Hilltopper pursuit has finally taken its toll.
Mike Terrell with a beautiful one-on-one tackle, just like they show in the manual.
It's over behind the east stands, whatever is going on over there, and some of the local police are going to try and investigate to find out before we have any problems. Here's the kick by Jensen on 4th and 7, and boy, does he hang one this time. Clarkson will just watch it go. It hits at the 20 and goes down inside the 5-yard line, and it's touched right there. It actually should have been touched at about the 6, but they're going to down it at the 5. They're going to place it at the 5. And boy, did he unload a kick that time, Don. There is where the punting game helps out. Don Lattis.
That was one of the finest high school kicks you'll ever see, Larry. I wonder what the final tabulation will be on that one. That was 55, maybe 60 yards, a long one.
Okay, and we have a 28-14 ball game with a little more than 8 minutes to go in the 4th quarter here at Joliet Memorial Stadium. And the Hilltoppers take over on their own 5-yard line. It was a beautiful, I guess about 55-yard boot by the Hawks' fine kicker, who's gotten off some beautiful punts.
Here's Thayer, straight power up the middle he goes, and finally gets pushed back as he got to the 4, and he still stands up. They can't put him down at all. This big Hilltopper fullback, they get him and they stack him up for three players, stack him up, and then he just spins off of them.
Well, like I say, they are lighter. They may have that speed, but when you run those big backs into those light linemen and even lighter secondary, why, the secondary, if they don't gang tackle, they're just not going to have a chance against these powerhouses from the Hilltoppers. And what was going on behind the far stands? Have you figured it out yet, Larry?
We don't know. We just do know the police got over there in a hurry when the crowd started to look over there, and I imagine here's Thayer up the middle at the 10-yard line and is spilled at the 11. He'll be well shy of first down yardage. We don't know what was going on over there, but we were watching some fans file out of the east stands, go around there at ground level, and we saw the fans on the top row of the stands looking down below behind the eastern stands. We don't know what it was.
Whatever it was, it's over with, and those fans that were the rubberneck variety wanted to see what was going on. They were filing back to this side of the stands here at Joliet Memorial Stadium.
3rd down and 4, and here's Beltsuber looking for that first down. He's got it at the 15-yard line. Straight power play by Eric Beltsuber, running behind the blocking of Bill Drasnick and Tony Tracy, and Rick Thayer probably helping out. An excellent blocker, I might add. And Eric has got that first down, running very well today, and it's at the 16-yard line. The Hilltoppers convert on 3rd down. And, of course, as Jack Daly points out, they're eating up this clock in the process, which now shows 4 minutes and 45 seconds to go. Again, Rick Thayer gets the call, head down, he breaks the tackle and plows over the 20 to the 24-yard line. Now we have a group of fans chasing over to the near side, along the western sideline. And it'll be now at the 23-yard line. Again, we really do not know what the nature of this disturbance is, and I think I see Tony Jantz, who was the line coach and athletic director at Joliet Catholic, trying to go over there and settle this situation down as we have fans running over to the corner of the stadium at the southwest corner.
I'd like to remind the fans the ball game is on the field.
That's right. And now we get a call, a flag goes down, and let's see, I think we're going to have a 5-yard walk-off against Joliet Catholic for illegal procedure. Dan Pesavento turned away from the line of scrimmage. He knew it right away. It might have been one of the linemen moving again, and again, the Hilltoppers have drawn a 5-yarder. That's 8 times they've been penalized for 48 yards. Well, whatever it is over there, apparently there's a big crowd, but in any way, it's under control, whatever's going on down there. And again, we're back to the field. 2nd and 7. They hand off to Beltsilver. He runs straight up the center, but he got tackled just as he started to maybe break it for some yardage. And John Krutzler made the stop, the linebacker, and just halted the progress of Eric Beltsilver as he started to get some momentum going, Bill. It's at the 24-yard line. Don Lattis is down on the field again. Don, if we can ask you, after this next play, we'll ask you maybe what the nature of what was going on down there in the southwest corner of the stadium. Let's hold up for a moment, though. This time they hand it off to Thayer, looking for first down yardage. He is at the 27 and our 28-yard line. A big pileup of Hillcrest Hawks around Rick Thayer, and it looks like we've got a first down. Now we're still trying to wait for the indication by the official that it is a first down. It is, and the Hilltoppers pick up a first down. Let's go quickly down to Don Lattis on the field. Don, any idea what is going on down there?
Yeah, there's a little battle going on over there. I guess a gang of kids jumped one or two other kids, and they're breaking it up over there now. They went first from the east side, now over to the west side, and now it looks like it's continuing again, and I'm sure that the men in blue will take care of things, hopefully, because again, there's a large contingent of the fans going over there, and here comes all the policemen, too. And our cord doesn't reach any further, Larry, but I'll try and find out something for you in the next couple minutes.
All right, Don, thank you very much. Of course, you have friends down there on the sideline to try and check on it, and we'll see what happens. We have some of the authorities coming over here to the near side of the field, and we saw those officials, those hard-working policemen. Believe me, they took off in a sprint toward the far side, tried to settle things down there, and now they came back to the near side on the southwest part. They were over in the southeast corner of the stadium. Now they're back to the near side, and we'll try and ask these fans and parents that are maybe listening on the radio to try and settle down and watch the game. Here's Eric Beltsilver straight ahead on second effort. He gets to the 35-yard line, and I've got to say that this has been one of the finest performances I've seen, as Eric Beltsilver, I would say, got off to a slow start this year because he didn't, in all truth, get that much experience because of some of the wide margins, and they were substituting with the running backs, and he didn't get that much experience. But now he's really running very well today, complementing Thayer's very much powerful running from fullback.
The ground yardage is going to be impressive here in the second half for the Hill.
2nd and 4, and they hand off to Thayer. The big guy goes straight ahead, spins forward. Scuda piles him up as he crosses the 35 to the 37-yard line. Whatever all the excitement was, it's all over because these fans on the near side are returning to their seats. We hate to keep bringing this up, but we have to be honest in journalistic integrity and report what's going on. So what's on the field and what's off the field, within reason.
Just as long as nobody takes a swing at me.
Well, if they do, they're going to have to break this glass in the press box in front of us.
Don't suggest it, Larry.
All right, it'll be 3rd down. Here's another 3rd down play for the Hilltoppers, 3rd and 1. And they hand off to reliable Eric Beltsilver, and he's got 3 or 4 yards to the 41-yard line, maybe the 42. They just keep grinding out the yardage. The clock shows 1:58 to go, and Joliet Catholic has now run for its 18th first down in this football game.
Beautiful ball control. They have a 2-touchdown lead, Larry.
We have a man down on the field for the Hawks. It's one of their front 4 up front. And we'll break for a moment for Don Lattis. Don is down on the sideline. And Don, any idea what the nature of that disturbance down there in the field area was?
Well, actually, Larry, it's those Bill Drilling fan clubbers again, and they're trying to keep them out of here. No, seriously, they've got it all cleared up, I think. It was, as I mentioned before, some type of a gang there jumping on a couple of kids, which is something you certainly don't like to see. And I'm surprised that they didn't get it quelled a little bit quicker over there. But as usual, a lot of fans, I guess, just stand and like to watch that sort of thing. And it's a good thing we had some of our fine policemen here who went over and immediately took care of things. And I think they took a couple of the kids into custody. A sorry thing on a game of this sort. You'd think the kids would come out, the fans would come out to see the football game and not come out here to start trouble. But which happens once in a while. there's that certain group that has to have the headline, and they'll get it now. They'll be sitting behind bars probably over the weekend.
Here's hoping, Don. 74. That'd be Jim Hall for the Hawks, is being aided from the field. One of the front four, and he suffered some sort of a malady as a result of that last play. As the Hill continues to grind out the yardage, and the clock continues to wind down. 1:50 left.
They hand it off to Thayer. Off the right side goes Rick, and he picks up a couple of more yardage. Sets the ball down and gets up for more action. This Catholic offense just looks tireless on the field. They're at about the 45-yard line in their own territory. And again, as I conferred with Jack Daly while Don Lattis was making his remarks, the authorities, the police department from Joliet, did an excellent job in running from one side of the field to the other, trying to keep up with the problems where they were, and they did an excellent job in finally settling things down.
I understand the fans at Yankee Stadium did that during the World Series, too.
That's right.
Roving fights. Here we go, Larry.
2nd and 6. Again, Thayer up the middle. He's got his first down. He breaks a tackle. Thayer still going. He's finally hauled down at the Hillcrest 31. Several players had a shot at there, and he just kept going straight ahead.
Well,
and they wouldn't give
individually,
up.
Larry, individually, those lighter defensive backs are no match for the might and the size of Thayer. He carried about 3 of them with him. Finally, somebody got in front of him, and his legs couldn't move any further forward. So he's down, but it's a 1st and 10, and they're way into the Hawks territory on the 31. They're driving. They may go in for another score if there's time. 28-14, Joliet Catholic leading over the visitors from Country Club Hills, Illinois.
All right, they hand it off to Beltsilver. He gets hit hard, but still drives forward for 2 or 3 yards. Finally, Eric Beltsilver goes down, but he was awful stubborn and yielding to those defenders. And finally, they set him down at the 29-yard line. 30 seconds to go in this football game. And Joliet Catholic will advance to the quarterfinals for the 3rd straight year, and that's as many years as we've had the IHSA football playoffs. Quite a record by the Hilltoppers. 28-14, 15 seconds to go. Time for maybe one more play. Pesavento hands off to Thayer. Over the left side goes Rick. He's still going. He's trying to get away from Scuda. He's down at about the 18-yard line. First down, Joliet Catholic. And the clock will stop with 5 seconds to go. And now they'll roll it again. Well, they didn't even set the yardsticks. And that's it. Joliet Catholic has won it. 28-14 over Hillcrest as they shut out the Hawks in the second half. And it's delirium on the field. Don Lattis is down there. Don, you certainly have to enjoy this performance at Joliet Catholic. We'll see if maybe we can get one of the Hilltopper assistants or head coach Gordy Gillespie. But Don, a very good performance by Joliet Catholic, to say the least.
Yes, sir, Larry. They really did a job. The second half, the Hilltoppers' defense has to really be commended. They did a tremendous job, and of course, the offense didn't do bad either. They kept the ball on the ground, and with that excellent running attack that the Hilltoppers had, plus some heady calls there by their quarterback, Pesavento, of course, consulted by Coach Gillespie. They just did one heck of a job. But the defense, it'll be interesting looking at the stats now, Larry, to see just how many yards, how few yards actually, that the Hawks picked up the last couple of quarters of the ball game. We'll try and line up one of the Catholic High coaches.
All right, Gordy Gillespie is now coming off to the near side. He had given his congratulations to Carl Zambo, and now he's shaking hands with some more fans down there. And also I saw him have a very good conversation with Tom Chakos, the fine linebacker. Well, that's our ball game, brought to you by Imperial Antenna, by Elliott Hennessy Real Estate and Insurance, by Jim Graham Olds Renault, by Joliet Federal Savings and Loan Association, and by the Colonial Restaurant. And now it's time for our post-game show, brought to you by the Hillcrest Hobby Shop, by Ken Woody Sports Shop, and by Ulrich's Catering. Gordy Gillespie still getting congratulations down there, and we'll see if we can get Gordy as he comes by down there. Don Lattis is down there on the field. We'll see if we can get Gordy now down there. There's Gordy with Don Lattis. So, Don, if you can hear us now, Don Lattis, take it away with that post-game interview with Gordy Gillespie as he's down there on the field. Go ahead, Don.
Okay, Larry, thank you very much. Here's a mighty happy guy, and we don't see him any other ways really too often. That's Coach Gordy Gillespie of Joliet Catholic High. And Gordy, what a fine game. What a great second half.
The kids are, I'm so proud of them, Don. They really played good. We played a great Hillcrest team. Those guys are great. I'm a little bit emotional about the game because of the way the kids played. We played so hard-nosed, Thayer and Beltsilver in the line, and we routed and worked, and Danny Pez had a couple, one's intercepted, and he come back and made the big home run pass. Geez, I'm just awful proud. I say I'm a little emotional because I guess maybe when you get a little older, Don, you get a little more emotional. But I'm a little choked up about this one because, well, you know, the kids have worked hard, you know, living in last year's past a little bit, you know, Don. These kids have had to do it. You know, we've only had 3 regulars. I had 22 coming back, and Mike had mono early, and so we had 2. And the job that these guys, I don't care what they do the rest of the way. I mean, I want to win, but they've done a great job, and they're just a great kids, you know.
They sure have did one heck of a tremendous job coming back after the Marion loss, too. Some kids would say, well, the heck with it, the season's over, we lost. And for Catholic High, a loss in the season, I guess for some schools, why that'd be the end of the campaign. But they've got even better, if that's possible now. After taking the loss, coming on to play a couple of tough ball games in the conference, to come up with a tie, and then come out against this outstanding Hillcrest team and do the job that you did. Gordy, how hard is it to get these kids up? It can't really be. They're up all the time, I know, but this second half, I've never seen them play better.
Don, I'm pro Catholic High. You know, I mean, you know. 25 years I've been at it at the Hill, and I've never taken a team on the field I thought that was down. And I don't mean that because I'm coaching them, because they have that kind of camaraderie. You know, maybe it's, you know, they say a Notre Dame spirit. Well, we have our own Catholic High spirit. I'm sure a lot of schools have the same type of thing. But being an all-boys school and, you know, tradition, and we're playing for a lot of people out there. You know, number one guy, we're playing for God out there a little bit too. Our kids believe in